What's going on, boys? Today we're talking about a number of things. The objective of the video is the second half of the title, but to get there, we need to discuss the first half among many other smaller details, things you need to know about ENTJs. Forewarning, there isn't any niceness or goodwill in this one. These are tools to use or to defend against. Now, firstly, ENTJs are not smart creatures. You need to know that and believe it. If you don't, speak with as many as you can until you understand what I'm saying. What they are is instinctual. Three things make up ENTJs. The first is their single brain cell. It's not even a brain cell. If you look closely at it, it's actually an itty-bitty little heart. The ENTJ doesn't realize it's a heart. They think it's a brain, and not just a brain cell, but a full-fledged brain. Keep that and everything else in mind. The second thing that makes up an ENTJ is a small, scared child. A child who wants someone to tell it what to do. That is one of the most disappointing things about ENTJs. Pop quiz. What is one of the first or most cutting things an ENTJ will tell you or think when things are falling apart? I will give you 2 seconds. They will ask someone or wish someone would tell them what to do and tell them everything will be okay. ENTJs are not leaders. If you look at any ENTJ's life hard enough, you will find one figure ENTJ puts on a pedestal to guide them, because they can't generate their own inner guidance. They need to get it from someone else. And when they don't have that, or when it's falling apart, they fall apart. It makes their falling apart even worse. The third and final thing that makes up an ENTJ is, if not the most important, then at least the most effective and most important to the ENTJ's success. It is a little demon in their guts who is not them, but tells them everything they need to do to get where they want to be. It is their instincts. I would call it TE and NI, but INTJs don't have it. The closest thing any other type has to that in the way it functions is ESFPs. That demon is important because ENTJs are not details people. They don't build things that can function without them. Anything an ENTJ builds needs the ENTJ present, or at least alive, to keep it working. You'll notice every major ENTJ in history is characterized by a meteoric rise to power, either a backstab or a breakdown, and then a falling apart or a corrupting of everything they built, because what they built cannot function without them. ENTJs are not memory or even systems people. ENTJs walk around in a state of Alzheimer's. It's like they forget 70% of anything they learn unless it is immediately, right in front of them, relevant to what they're doing. ENTJs aren't preparation or research people. They see what they want to do, and then they do it. The only other type who does that, at least in that way, is ESFPs. And you might be thinking, if ENTJs are so garbage on all these fronts, why are they so successful? It's because of that demon, that instinct. It will tell them where to go, it will tell them what to do, and it will be right in terms of success most of the time. As long as they have their instincts, they don't need any of those things or anything else. In fact, their one heart cell and the scared child in them are more like weights holding back that instinct they can't get rid of. The demon is the most effective, and it's what you'll be targeting later. But you need to know about that instinct before you can get there. Now we'll talk about dating ENTJs, because the systems you'll use to get them to love you are the systems you'll need to hurt them. So might as well learn two birds with one stone. Now, these methods are for an INTP. If you aren't an INTP, these won't work for you. If you are an INFJ or an ISTP, you won't need them. I don't know how, but INFJs and ISTPs can hurt, damage ENTJs without any of this shit. I don't know how they do it, but they make ENTJs go crazy. Like ballistic crazy. We have to work for it. Now, the first thing you'll need is sharp, field-tested TI, and an awareness of what your TI is good for. If you don't know your stuff or step outside your lane, an ENTJ will dismiss you like you aren't shit because you aren't shit. You need to know whatever you know in that sort of way your knowing would work with or without your existence. I emphasize knowing because ENTJs have nemesis TI. Remember, they think their itty-bitty heart cell is a full-fledged brain. They want to feel smart. You are an INTP. You have nemesis TE. You don't use TE, but you like it, and you can smell when someone else's TE is dumb, is useless. ENTJs have a similar sense about TI. The next thing you'll need is an objective. What reason do you two have to be speaking? What are you trying to accomplish? Your objective can be outlandish as long as it is honest and potentially valuable. If there is a male I think is an ENTJ, my introduction is, you seem like someone with many long-term goals. What's your most interesting one? You'll speak for a little while until your inferior FE rings the "this dude is wondering why I'm speaking with him" bell. At which point you explain MBTI, you explain shadow functions, and you explain how beneficial speaking with other ENTJs has been for you in the past. You're interested in self-development, and if you don't mind, or they don't mind, getting their thoughts on things could improve your perspective. For males, that one is the winner. For ENTJ females, my method, a method you might try, is a little different. Everything is the same as with male ENTJs, up to the point of discussing long-term goals. Then, once the little bell goes off and you explain MBTI a little bit, you tell them you see yourself settling down with an ENTJ, because those relationships are always interesting, always productive, and you're speaking with ENTJs, many ENTJs, so you can learn as much as you can about that type so you can help your future partner through any potential problems. Because the more experience you have, the more capable you are, and you aren't just standing there confused while your partner is suffering. You'll know what to do. Now, if you, an INTP, tried that on any other type, you would get laughed off. And you might get laughed off a couple times trying this with the ENTJs, but for some reason, there is some kind of reciprocation, and it works more often than you would expect. If you feel the need, or they want you to back it up a little bit, you can try hat trick MBTI. I don't recommend using MBTI as a hat trick normally, but ENTJs are easy to pattern. Here are 2 hat tricks you can use to prove your shit. First one is the classic. ENTJ, you know that dream you've always wanted to pursue and base sort of your persona around, that you never make any progress with. In fact, whenever you try, you end up even worse, even further behind with it than you were before. Yeah, that thing. Fill in the blanks. You're making no progress with it because you like perfection. And while failure stinks, I know at this point you're not progressing, not because you're failing, but because you gave up on it. Now, what you, INTP, are doing with that angle is twisting a knife in their side that's already there. This will get them mad, it'll agitate them, but a funny thing you'll notice is now they will be trying to prove you wrong and impress you. Now for the next hat trick thing. You know, ENTJ, something I've found in many people of your type is the drive to improve oneself. And to that end, ENTJs will buy self-help books, maybe they'll read them, they'll take online courses, they will hire coaching, they will go through these trials, like the fun, buildy up yourself trials, which everybody else knows to be bullshit, but they will never internalize any of it. And it seems like they want to, but they just don't for some reason. They'll surround themselves with all these self-improvement things, and none of that self-improvement will make it inside. Is that true for you? If so, why is that? I'm still trying to figure that one out. That one is a different and less pointed method of phrasing a similar sort of thing as the first, but I guarantee you an ENTJ will have something to say about that, either of their own experiences or of people like that. Because depending on the ENTJ's age and level of development, they gotta be better than everybody else, and they can tell you why they're better than everybody else. And once you've gotten them talking, you've already won. You're already in. Because ENTJs don't know themselves. Even with inferior FE, you will know things about an ENTJ before they do, if they ever do. They will like you before they realize they like you. And you'll know that's the case because you can compare the way they treat you with the way they treat anyone else. And quick addition, why are they putting up with this outlandish stuff at all? It's because ENTJs are trapped in social norms and social conventions almost constantly. They want to speak about the things they want to speak about and the ways they want to speak about them with a clear objective, but that for them is almost never going to happen. ENTJs walk around feeling misunderstood and repressed constantly. Nobody cares enough to try to understand what they mean. That is where you come in. Now back to scheduled programming. They might not be able to articulate it at first, but however they feel about you, positive or negative, they would not be speaking with you if they thought you weren't shit. Now, once you've hit that stage and nothing wacky happens, a relationship, or at least feelings on their part, are inevitable. If you are looking to love them or to hurt them, that's what you're looking for, firstly. Side note while we're here, because it's interesting, a word that comes up often with female INTPs dating male ENTJs is training. I'm sure this isn't the case all the time, but female INTPs with male ENTJs are strange creatures, and they talk about training their male partners to do what they want. That leads me to believe they're playing the same strings, demon, heart, and child, the same way you'll be playing the strings, but in a different way. The number of female INTPs dating male ENTJs I've spoken with seem to be aware of the fact ENTJs want to be led, ENTJs don't know shit, and ENTJs don't know how to build anything permanent on their own. Now, to tear an ENTJ down, you need to know how to upgrade them. Do the INTPs getting to know people thing. Okay, ENTJ, the person you say you are is way over there. You and I, in reality, are way over here. What we're going to do is figure out everything you say, everything you think you believe. That won't take too long. If you're an INTP, you can probably get a sense of what's wrong with an ENTJ within the first 5 seconds of meeting them. And then, after 5 minutes of conversation, they will reveal the major things that are wrong generally. What comes next is the specifics. We are going to figure out what you do. We're going to figure out what you instinctually believe. We are building a lattice of claims versus actions, beliefs versus realities. You, INTP, are taking the ENTJ's itty-bitty heart and spreading it across a metal dish and sticking pins in it so you can dissect it. Now, for upgrade or tear down, you start by bringing inconsistencies to their attention. In either case, you need to be well-intentioned. ENTJ, you keep telling me you're this person, but you keep doing all this dumb shit. Why are you doing this? If you've done your homework, ENTJs will never have an answer. Yet, they won't spurg out the way an INTJ will, because an ENTJ has Nemesis TI. They want everything they do to be in accordance with everything they say. So when things don't line up and they don't have answers, they just sit there sparking at the head. And they might get mad, but they don't have an answer, so they won't get too mad because they don't want to humiliate themselves to themselves, because they know you aren't wrong, because they don't really know. The heart and the kid are the ones talking when they say they are this, they are that, but in reality, the ENTJ is just listening to the demon to get anywhere. ENTJs want to be this ideal version of themselves, but they don't know how to get there because the demon, the one thing they have that operates and gets them anywhere, is giving them no information on how to become that person. It gives them information only about how to accomplish weird things. Rarely ever the things they want, and often things they want nothing to do with, but do because it's all they know how to do. It's all their instincts have told them to do. And if they don't listen to their instincts, they have nothing. Now here is where the good path and the evil path split. If you want to upgrade your ENTJ, you develop angelic levels of patience. If they don't know how to build anything permanent, you hold their hand and walk them through how to build permanent things. And you do it in a way that makes sense because you are a TI-SI type. You ask them as many questions as possible, you figure out what they want to do, and then you develop systems they can follow to do the things they want to do in the ways they want to do them that require none of that instinct. Eventually, they will begin trusting you enough to use your systems in place of their instincts. Do that long enough, trusting you becomes their instinct. Even on the loving path, you can already see where that danger comes in. If it's any consolation, love is trust. You will get hurt, and if you're going to get hurt, better to see how it might start happening early. You might be an ENTJ watching this wondering how to know when to trust an INTP or how to tell a trustworthy from an untrustworthy INTP. I can't help you with that because INTPs are not trustworthy. I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. Now, on to hurting ENTJs. You'll follow pretty much the same process, except instead of developing an angelic sort of patience, you will develop a demonic sort of patience. Keep a small notebook. You'll never let them see it and you'll never need to. But you need to know every single time the ENTJ does not act in accordance with the person they claim to be. You will notice patterns. Mark them. ENTJs are instinctual. We've already discussed this, but you really need to get this. You have about 4 months to figure out what an ENTJ is doing well, what an ENTJ should be congratulated for. Keep them aware of their negative patterns, but don't help them with them, but definitely make them aware of the things they're doing well in this cycle. Praise them for it, help them with it. You'll know it isn't permanent because whatever it is will be outside them. Whenever that cycle ends, they will move on to something else. But it won't just be moving on the way a normal person would move on. ENTJs need drama. They exist in peaks and troughs. When it's time for them to move on, they will be falling into a pit. Things will be getting bad. ENTJs will begin losing control of the situation. They will begin acting ways even they don't like, and they know it, and they never know anything. At this point, you need to be someone the ENTJ looks to for guidance. The beautiful thing is they won't even know it, that they look to you for guidance. That is when you strike. You won't ever knock an ENTJ down. ENTJs are resilient. You'll notice FPs can hurt ENTJs terribly, but they never knock them down because it is a force external to ENTJs attacking them from the outside. That will never work if you want to inflict permanent damage. You won't even really be the one hurting them. You will be leading them to hurt themselves. That is how you damage ENTJs. They need that self-image, that internal guiding demon to survive because they have nothing else. If that demon stops working, or if they start doubting it, they have nothing else. They cannot function. So, once everything is going wrong, they're losing control, and they're being shitty to the point they are aware of and feel guilty about being shitty, you spring your information. It'll go something like this, and it needs to be ugly. You claim to want to be this grand person and achieve these grand things, but you aren't, and you haven't because you're worthless. And you're worthless because if you wanted those things, if you really wanted those things, you'd already be making moves to become that person or achieve that thing. You haven't. You haven't been. You said A, then you did Z. You said B, then you did Y. You said C, and then you did X. You're too sorry and scared to do what you really want, so you fuck around with sticks in the mud, getting nowhere, and know you're going nowhere, but you tell everybody you're this great person, you want to do these great things, and you do fucking nothing. If you weren't aware, that would be one thing, but you're completely aware, and you choose to do nothing. Yet you have the audacity to run your mouth, and you can't back it up. You were doing okay for a little while, and that's where you bring out the positives. But now you can't even do that. Why? The ENTJ will never have an answer. They will be spurging out at this point, and you can't give them an exact answer why, but you can give them your theories on why. You can give them your assessment of why they're such useless failures. Those assessments need to be backed up with evidence they can't argue with. Externally, they will be arguing with you, but internally, they won't be able to. That's why paperwork, or at least mental paperwork, is so important. You keep bearing down on them with evidence of why they are worthless, why they're hypocrites, why they are where they are right now, why they are the person they are right now, instead of where they want to be or are the person they want to be. The effect you're going for is not to tear them down because you can't. What you can do is get them to question themselves, to second guess themselves, to view themselves, and more importantly, their instincts, their thought processes, negatively. Remember, keep emphasizing it because it's important, it's your target. ENTJs have nothing beyond their instincts. If you can prove to them in an inarguable way their instincts aren't shit, they will not trust their instincts. Once they don't trust their instincts, they are dead in the water. You've knotted them up, and they lack the internal tools to unknot themselves. They were a mess when you found them. Do you think they are capable of fixing themselves now? Now, the effects of this won't be permanent, but it will take them a long time to unknot themselves naturally. Those instincts aren't going to stay dead forever. If you have a lot of hatred in your heart, you can enjoy knowing the ENTJ will have no conscious ability to fix this. Until their unconscious sorts itself out, they will be more than miserable. If you can give them enough evidence to hate themselves in earnest, because they already hate themselves, and not to trust themselves, you win. If you are an INTP or another type trying this, knowing how these things work will give you a leg up, because ENTJs will hurt you. Unintentionally or intentionally. In fact, they're already planning on how to hurt you. You need to fuck them on levels they not just don't understand, but lack the tools to do anything about. Because ENTJs are already planning on how to hurt you. If you are an ENTJ watching this, now you know what to look out for and what to plan against. And extra information for the ENTJs, spending any amount of time with any NTP, you are affording them the time to rig what they're trying to rig. You can try to be defensive and careful, but you need to understand you run your mouth And when you're trying to be careful and defensive, you are giving away more than you think by trying to do something. It's for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. You're trying to do something creates information you don't want to give away. By trying not to give away information, you're giving away information. If you want to be completely safe, you need to shut yourself completely off, but you can't do that all the time. Whoever you are, whoever's watching, I hope this helps. But that about ribbity wraps this one up. I hope you enjoyed watching, because I certainly enjoyed making it. There are a few particularly important MBTI tools I've picked up I don't or haven't wanted to share, and this is one of them. I feel weird making this video. Like if you enjoyed, because it helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't, because we do this shit sometimes, and comment your thoughts, because I love hearing from you. Do you have any experiences with this kind of stuff? What are your experiences as an ENTJ or with an ENTJ on this combative level? Love to hear your experiences. I think it's because it's like that INFJ video I made, one without an ounce of positivity in it. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Really, we have a lot of fun on this channel. So much fun, in fact. You can plug it into your wall and get no fun because your fun connection is out right now. But you can connect to the fun via Wi-Fi. That's how much fun we have on this channel, and I look forward to doing with you guys. But that's how much fun we have on this channel, and I look forward to doing this with you guys again in the future.